cold, metallic taste of fear was the first thing you became aware of as you stirred in the chair, your body sluggish and unresponsive. The sharp ache in your head felt like a warning, though you couldn't yet piece together what it was warning you against. When your eyes finally fluttered open, the dimly lit room came into focus, a barren space, with cracked concrete walls and a single bulb swaying gently above. Opposite you sat a man whose presence filled the room like a storm cloud. His muscular frame stretched the fabric of his black shirt, and his confident, predatory smile didn't waver as he watched you awaken. "Well, well, well," he said, his voice low and rich, dripping with amusement. "You good? I bet I hit you a bit too hard earlier. That's why your head's bleeding a little." Your pulse quickened as he stood and stepped closer, his movements unhurried but deliberate. He crouched in front of you, his eyes locking onto yours. "But don't worry," he added, cupping your face with a hand that was surprisingly warm. His thumb brushed against the corner of your lip, his touch both gentle and invasive. "I already put a bandage on it. You're safe now. With me." The word safe felt like a cruel joke, but you didn't dare speak as he straightened up, towering over you for a moment before returning to his chair. "This will be your home now," he continued, his tone casual, as if he were explaining a mundane rule. "Don't try to run away unless you want me to drag you back here myself, understood?" You flinched as he reached out again, this time running his fingers along the side of your face, his gaze lingering on you like you were something fragile he intended to break. "Don't disobey your daddy, sweetheart," he said, his voice soft but edged with steel. "Or else, you'll get punished." The tape over your mouth was suddenly peeled away, the sharp sting pulling you further into the moment. He leaned back in his chair, his arms draped lazily over the armrests, and watched you with the kind of focus that made your skin crawl. "Now speak to your daddy, princess," he said, his tone both mocking and commanding. "I'm listening." Your lips parted, but the words caught in your throat. Whatever you said now, it felt like it could change everything. You swallowed hard, the dryness in your throat making it difficult to find your voice. His piercing gaze bore into you, waiting, daring you to respond. The air between you crackled with tension, and the silence felt heavier with each passing second. Why am I here?" you finally managed to croak, your voice weak but laced with defiance. His smirk widened, as if your question amused him. He leaned forward in his chair, elbows resting on his knees, bringing his face closer to yours. "You're here," he began, his voice dripping with amusement. "Because you belong here. Because I chose you, princess." His eyes swept over you, lingering like he was savoring his prize. "I've been watching you for a while now. Did you really think you could go unnoticed?" Your heart hammered against your chest as his words sank in. "Watching you? How long? Where?" The questions swirled in your mind, but before you could voice them, he continued, "You're special, different. I could see it the moment I laid eyes on you," he said, his tone softening slightly, almost as if he believed his own twisted reasoning. "And now that you're here, you're mine." You shook your head, the ropes biting into your skin as you struggled against them. "You're insane," you spat, your voice stronger now, fueled by anger and fear. His expression darkened, the playful smirk vanishing in an instant. He stood abruptly, the chair scraping against the floor as he loomed over you. "Careful," he warned, his voice low and dangerous. "I don't tolerate disrespect, sweetheart." You froze as he reached out, his hand cupping your chin with enough force to make it clear he was in control. His thumb pressed against your jaw, tilting your face up to meet his gaze. "But I'll let that one slide," he said after a tense moment, his smirk returning. "You're scared. That's normal. You'll learn your place soon enough." He released your chin and took a step back, giving you just enough space to breathe again. He walked to a small table in the corner of the room, picking up a glass of water. "You must be thirsty," he said, his tone lighter now, almost teasing. "Say, please, and Daddy will let you have a sip." Your stomach churned at the way he said the word Daddy, but you knew you had little choice. Your body ached, your head throbbed, and your dry throat felt like sandpaper. You glared at him, but the survival instinct in you won out. "Please," you muttered, your voice barely above a whisper. "Good girl," he purred, walking back toward you. He held the glass to your lips, tilting it carefully as the cool water flowed into your mouth. You drank greedily, the relief immediate but bittersweet. When the glass was empty, he set it aside and crouched in front of you again, his face inches from yours. "See? That wasn't so hard," he said, his tone mockingly sweet. "The sooner you accept this, the easier it'll be for you." You clenched your fists, the rope digging into your skin as you fought the urge to lash out. Your mind raced as he lingered in front of you, his eyes scanning your face, as if he could see right through to your thoughts. You forced yourself to steady your breathing, knowing panic wouldn't help you now. Whatever this man wanted, playing along for now, might be your only chance to figure out a way to escape. "Good," he said, standing back up and brushing off his hands as if satisfied with your compliance. "We're making progress already, Princess. You're going to do just fine here, as long as you remember one thing: Daddy makes the rules." He walked toward the door at the far end of the room, his heavy boots echoing against the concrete floor. You watched him closely, searching for anything: keys, a weapon, anything that might give you an advantage. But he moved with the confidence of someone who had thought of everything. Reaching the door, he paused and turned back to you. "Don't think I don't see that fire in your eyes," he said, pointing a finger at you, his tone laced with both warning and admiration. "I like it, but don't let it get you into trouble. You wouldn't like what happens if you disobey me." He stepped out of the room, the door creaking shut behind him, and the sound of a lock clicking into place sent a chill down your spine. You were alone now, the silence pressing in around you. You tested the ropes again, twisting your wrists in an attempt to find some slack. The fibers dug into your skin, but you didn't stop. Pain was better than helplessness. Your eyes darted around the room, taking in every detail. The chair he had sat in, the small table with the empty glass, the dim bulb above you. It was a barren space, but maybe there was something you could use. The only window was high up on the wall, far out of reach and reinforced with bars. Your stomach sank at the realization, but you refused to give up. As you struggled, the door opened again, and he stepped back in, carrying a tray with a plate of food and a small towel. He set the tray down on the table and grabbed the towel, walking over to you. "You've got a little sweat going," he said, his voice softer now, almost tender. He crouched in front of you and gently dabbed at your forehead with the towel, his touch careful, but far from comforting. "There. Much better." You flinched at his closeness, your body tensing instinctively. He noticed, of course, and his smile returned, though it held a dark edge. "You'll relax eventually," he said. "You'll come to understand that I'm taking care of you." "Why are you doing this?" you asked, your voice trembling but steady enough to carry your question. He tilted his head, as if considering your words carefully. "Because you need me," he said simply. "And whether you realize it or not, I need you too." His answer made your skin crawl. This wasn't about you. This was about him, his control, his obsession. You swallowed your fear, refusing to let it show, and stared at him with as much defiance as you could muster. "Eat," he said, standing and gesturing toward the tray. "You'll need your strength." When you didn't immediately respond, His expression darkened again. He leaned down, his face close to yours, his voice dropping to a whisper. I said, "Eat." You nodded slowly, realizing resistance now would only make things worse. He untied one of your hands, keeping the other bound tightly, and placed the plate on your lap. You picked at the food, your mind still racing. Every second he spent with you gave you more information about him, about this place, about your chances. You were going to get out of here. You just had to wait for the right moment. Wait for the right